I'm an Ontario-based real estate agent, and after tutoring hundreds of students, here's how you can pass your real estate exams within 6 months. First things first, you're going to have to enroll yourself in the Humber College Real Estate Program. Now, when you go to the website, you're going to see a few different things. First, you're going to see the pre-registration phase, the salesperson post-registration phase, and then you're going to see the broker registration program. Now, the difference between a salesperson and a broker is that a salesperson on one hand can trade real estate, while a broker, being able to trade real estate, can also own their own brokerage. Now, regardless of what you want to do, whether you want to be a salesperson or you want to be a broker, you're first going to have to get your salesperson license. So this means if you're just starting out, you're going to go to the Humber College Real Estate website, and I'll put the link somewhere here or in the description below. And you're basically going to skip over the pre-registration phase and just go to where it says Start Application. Once you hit that application, you're going to fill it out, and I think it's about a $125 fee. And once you pay that, you fill out the application, you send it to them, they should get back to you within a couple of days and you'll be all good to go for the courses. Now this brings me to my second point, which is how do we actually get through these courses? So first of all, there's 7 courses and 6 exams. This consists of courses 1 to 4, 2 simulations, and course 5, which actually doesn't even have an exam. And you're actually going to progress through these courses one by one, meaning you have to finish course 1 before you get to course 2. And to finish course 1, it consists of buying the course, clicking through the course, booking your exam, and passing your exam, obviously. Once you do all of that, then you can move on to course 2, and you do the same process over and over until you get all the way to course 5. And for course 5, like I said, there's not going to be an exam anyways, so you should be okay. So this means each course consists of basically 3 jobs, which is 1, you got to buy the course, 2, you got to click through the course so that you can book your exam, and 3, pass your exam. Once you do that, you can move pretty fast through all the courses. Each course costs a different amount, so some courses can go all the way up to $800, and some I believe are as little as about $300. And this is not to mention the exam fee. To take an exam, I think it's about $115. And so in total for the pre-registration phase, meaning courses 1 to 4, including all the simulations, you're looking at about $4K. And that's not including all of the things post-registration, meaning registering with the brokerage, getting actually licensed and getting that whole process done, which can amount to about 5 to 6K even. That is the best case scenario, meaning most of the times, from my experience, most students are going to end up failing once or twice or maybe even a few times over, and that can easily set you back a few $100s, and you might even be looking at around 7K more realistically if you're trying to get through these courses within a reasonable amount of time. For me personally, I was actually able to get through most of the courses without much of a problem, but I did end up failing course 3 one time, and I barely passed the second time because that course was the bane of my existence. So you can see pretty easily how the numbers can add up pretty quick. So just keep in mind, if you're planning to go through these courses and you're just getting started, make sure you have the finances in hand before you start and you're capable of handling all of those, and realistically budget for, I would say, about 6 to 7K for the entire process. Okay, but all that begs the question, how do we actually pass on the first try, and preferably within 6 months? So there's a few different things here that you're going to need to be able to pass within 6 months. Now, to give you some context, the fastest I've ever seen any student complete the exams was within 3 months. Now, this is insanely fast. For most students, it's just not going to be realistic. For most people, it's probably going to take you about 1.5 to 2 years. Now, keep in mind, the people that are completing these exams within 3 months, they are studying about 6 to 8 hours a day, every day, for 3 months. They are sacrificing like crazy, and they are not really working for the most part. They are just studying full time. And so the only reason I didn't name this, get your license within 3 months, is because for most of us, we have full-time jobs and we have things that we got to do. And so more realistically, on a fast side, you could be looking to get your license within 6 months, but for most people, in my experience, it takes them about 1.5 to 2 years. So if you're like me and you're trying to complete these pretty fast, but you still got stuff to do, work or studying or whatever it is, then you're probably looking at within 6 months. Now, to pass the exam within 6 months, there's a few things that you're going to have to follow. The first is you got to put in the commitment. This means if you do want to complete this within 6 months, this is a fast timeline and you are going to have to dedicate yourself. What could I take out of my schedule, and where could I put real estate studying in as much as possible every day, preferably? Now, of course, I'm not saying that you're going to have to study 6 to 8 hours a day, right? Doing it in 6 months just means that you're studying every day, Studying about 2 to 3 hours, usually any more than 3 hours ends up being a bit of a pain because most people will just sit for 4 or 5 hours and they're probably not really studying that effectively, which means you sit down 6 hours, you're on your phone, you're getting up, you're coming back, and so it's probably not going to be that beneficial anyways. Now, if you can afford more, naturally that means you're probably going to get through it faster, but realistically for 6 months, doing something every day is much more beneficial than doing 5 hours one day and nothing the next day. In terms of priorities, just be willing to sacrifice whatever is least important to you to make time for this, and just be realistic, right? If it's going to take you 2 hours to study something, make time for those 2 hours and actually put in those 2 hours. For some people, it's going to take more, and that's okay. If you've been out of school for a while or you're not used to studying this kind of way, that's okay. But just be realistic with yourself in terms of how long is it actually going to take me and how many hours do I actually need a day to be able to complete this within my 6-month timeline. The second thing you're going to need to do is you're going to need to study smart and not hard. And I touched on this a little bit, but sitting around for 6 hours, getting up and being distracted is not the best use of your time. You're going to want to make sure that you're studying in short spurts, but really, really effectively, and that starts with using the right tools. Everybody uses different tools because everybody learns differently. The best thing that you can do is just explore. If you're just starting out in your course 1, just get started and try to explore these different tools that you have. Ask around, look for different things that you can use, and just see what works for you. Now, for me personally, when I did my exams and I was studying, I actually was just using the Hummer slides, and I was actually just taking typed up notes onto a Word document, which, probably wasn't the most effective way to study looking back at it, but it did help me get to learn a lot of the stuff that I probably wouldn't have learned as well if I had maybe just done something different. So you're ultimately going to have to do your own kind of cost and time benefit analysis to see I might put more time into taking notes, I'll learn it better, but it's going to take me way more time. And so for me, when I actually completed my courses and I had all these notes sitting around, I was like, what am I even going to do with these? So I was like, let me just give them to people who are doing it. And I checked Facebook and now I realized, oh wow, there's all these Facebook groups out there that I could have been using. So what I've actually done is I actually started a Facebook group. I put these notes in there for free. So if you do want to get some notes to get started with that basically summarize a lot of the content in the course, it's a good starting point. And I'll put the link somewhere here in the description or on top to go ahead and join that group. And you can just download them during the file section for free. Additionally, one of the other things that I struggled with the most was the fact that this is a self-taught course, which basically means you're doing everything by yourself, you're reading by yourself, and you're writing by yourself. And it's not always the most conducive for learning, especially for somebody like me who's a visual learner. And so I actually really would have benefited from having somebody teach me or having somebody actually be there for me. And that's actually how I started tutoring a bunch of students who, just kind of were looking for the same thing. So if you are looking for that, private tutoring, or you want to join some other students in some kind of group classes, we do these classes about once a month. So I'll put the link somewhere here or in the description, and you can go ahead and apply. And it's really fun. We get to go with a lot of students, and it's a bit of an easier way to learn depending on how you learn best. Okay, last thing is make sure you are effectively planning out your timelines. Now, plan out for your exams well in advance because, like I said, it takes about 7 days to book your exam in advance. And then on top of that, there's always a few days for buffer in case of registering for a course, getting access to the course, completing the course, it's showing it as completed on the website. And so all the stuff can kind of rip a few days from you. And if you are on the timeline and you do want to finish this within 6 months, every day matters. So just account for all those date changes and also account for the simulation sessions. The simulation sessions are not like the other courses. They are virtual classrooms with an instructor and other students online. And it's basically 4 to 5 days of online instruction, like the full day, so like 9 to 5. And you're basically going through a bunch of real life concepts. It's more so to apply some of this theory to real life. And you do that over 4 or 5 days. And then on the last day, you just do your exam. So when I did them, I did find them personally a little bit long, but from my experience and helping a bunch of students, they are relatively the easier exams, and you shouldn't have as much of a problem with those as the other courses. I believe most people do end up passing these pretty easily. And when I say most, I think about 90% of people. So don't worry too much if it's a bit new for you. Just really, get your camera set up and just have fun with the sessions. They're honestly a good change from the rest of the courses, and you might find that they actually help your learning style better. Okay, and the final thing is once you applied for the pre-registration phase and you've gone through all the courses, you're basically already done most of the legwork. The only other thing is just registering for a brokerage, getting started with them, and that usually just consists of like a police record check and choosing a brokerage. And once you do that, most of the time they're going to help you with the rest of the stuff, which is, applying with RICO and paying a bit of other fees as well. It's going to be a lot of detail to go through in this video, but if you guys do want videos on how to choose a brokerage and what to ask them, or even like different study methods and different things you can use to study, just let me know in the comments and I'll try to make some more videos on that. And so if you made it to the end of the video, congratulations, you are now a licensed real estate salesperson, or at least you know how to do it. And I'll see you guys in the next one.